Well, what a massive game that was last time around. And you must have a big smile on your face if you're a Canada fan. And I tell you, wear that forever. For me personally, that's the biggest win I've ever seen in 31 years of watching the national team and 22 years of covering it in the media. But I tell you, massive game. Enjoyed every second. And we got another one in the group game. Sitting second. We've got so much to get through in this one. But guys, I tell you, what a massive game. I hope you are just over the freaking moon because I am. On this one, we're talking the form, we're talking the players, we're talking the game talk, we're talking the prediction. We're going to go into Group A in depth. But before we get there, I've got to say one thing. Hasn't the football been amazing at the Copa America? Hasn't it been amazing? Hasn't the entertainment been fantastic? And I hope you're enjoying the entertainment here too. So let's kick this off right now. Before we get to some of the current form, they said last game that man of the match was Jonathan David. And I'll tell you what, there's a big reason why he was. But a guy that really stood out for me, I tell you, was this guy here, Jacob Schaffelberg. He was amazing. But take a look at two of the major highlights, because for me, there were only two highlights from the last game. When we get back, we get straight into the form. Take a look. So there you go. For my money, there were only two major highlights, but I got to tell you, Schaffelberg is absolutely a lucky man not to have a broken leg. And that goal that we scored, wow. But you can't just say Jonathan David, and you can't just say Schaffelberg. You got to back it up a bit. On the edge of our own penalty area, Kyle Larin, and I gave Kyle Larin a bit of hot air recently for not doing enough. Well, he did enough on the edge of the box because he wins the duel, wins the ball, and then fires upfield with an absolute amazing pass to the left wing, where Jacob Schaffelberg, sorry, gets there just in time and fires a one-time pass over to Jonathan David, 50 meters away from him, pretty much. And he's going to get battered by the defender. And on the pass, Schaffelberg is thrown to the floor by the defender. Take a look again at the highlight reel. The ball comes over perfectly for Jonathan David, who captures it with a beautiful first touch. But the finish is crisp. And it's a real goal scorer that makes that happen. And Jonathan David is a top goal scorer, as you know. And if you didn't, well, you do now. And so do Peru, because they were the big team in the game. They were expected to win it, and they had the great form. But that three-man move was absolutely outstanding. Now, taking a look at some of the current form. Head-to-head, Chile taking on Canada. Chile first. Chile's won 2, drew 1, lost 1 in the last 4 times. That's all we've played is 4 games. Goals scored 4, goals against 2. Chile is +2 in the goal category. Canada, 1 win, 1 draw, 2 goals scored, 4 against with 2 losses, and -2 is the goal category. Canada won the game in the Canada Cup back in the day, believing that was 88. Anyway, that's what you got there. Now, odds for this game, if you really want to know what the odds are, the bookies are saying Chile's 3-1 odds to win. Canada is 7-1 odds to win. Now, last 5, recent. Keep listening because this is really bloody close. Chile, 2-1-2, 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, 8 goals scored, 4 against. The 2 losses that they've had have been against top-notch opposition, just like Canada. You'll hear in a second. But Chile lost 3-2 to France and 1-0 to Argentina very recently. Now, taking a look at Canada and their last 5, or our last 5, should we say, 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, just like Chile. However, only 3 goals scored and 6 against for -3, and Chile's +4. So our records are identical, but Chile has a better goal differential in that time. Now, the losses is the important or most interesting part about this too, because it's that gives you a little bit more detail about where these guys sit. Yeah, these 2 losses coming up will tell you exactly how close this will be. Take a listen. Remember, Chile lost 3-2 to France and 1-0 to Argentina. Canada just lost 2-0 to Argentina. Chile 1-0. Yeah. And also the game before that, Canada lost 4-0 to Holland with four drastically bad second half goals that did not resemble the effort that the team had put in the first half. It was one of those halves that will probably never come along again for Canada because that was like the 100-year storm for us. Four goals in one half. That's pretty bad. You got to go back a few years. Not many. I know the 8-1. Don't tell me, but you got to go back a little while. But that's where the form sits right now. So currently Chile has a slight edge. Let's take a look at Group A in closer detail. Yeah. Hey, before we get talking about Group A in a little bit of detail, two games that came around today. Ecuador taking out Jamaica 3-1. They deserved the win. Ecuador, I think, will be going through. But in the other game, Venezuela taking out Mexico 1-0. You have to say, Orbelin Perneda for Mexico misses a penalty kick in the 87th minute. How will he regret that? Now, looking at Group A and how it stands, that's what it looks like up there, guys. I got to tell you. I'm looking on the boards right now. Did you think it would look like that at this stage? Did you really? I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I didn't think it would be like this. I thought we could still be alive with maybe a couple of draws. But right now, as it stands, Canada takes on Chile. It's a fight between second and third for a place in the next round. I got a feeling Argentina is probably going to be big enough to at least get a draw against Peru and probably should win. So systematically, not arrogantly, I'm writing Peru out of the equation and I'm putting Argentina into the next round with 9 points. Okay, stay with me on this. Stay with me. The real game in this group is the next game. And oddly enough, Canada is in the driving seat, not the favorite seat, the driving seat. Can quite happily play for the draw. And I tell you, why would you not want to play for the draw if you can? But that's the most deadliest, the most craziest thing you'd ever think as a coach. You can't do that. You got to go for a result. You can't play for a draw, and you can't give it up pissing around, just wasting time. I remember a game back in history, Argentina 78, and it was a game between Österreich, Austria, and Germany, and they played out a draw so they could both move through. That won't work for this game. A draw doesn't work for Chile. Chile's got to win. That's the bottom line. Chile's going to come to Canada with an open set. The lines are going to be flowing, and they won't be pushing everything forward, but as the clock starts to tick, the pressure's going to be on Chile. And Canada wants to realize that right now, you will not be the team under pressure. You'll be able to play with a little bit more confidence because of the great victory over Peru. But Chile haven't scored in 2 games. In fact, haven't scored in 230 odd minutes. So who's the pressure on to score? Chile. Who's the pressure on to win the game? Chile. So take that as a comfort, Canada fans. It doesn't mean you turn up and you've got an easy day. No, it's going to be a hot battle. And the best team will win on the day. But just know, a draw gets Canada through. A win guarantees it. Absolutely guarantees it. And look, I tell you what, if you can get 2 wins in the group phase, that's absolutely outstanding. But like many teams, if you can go 1-1-1, a win, a draw, a loss, it's normally good enough to get you through. And in this case, it would work beautifully because on the back of Argentina taking out Peru, we'd be through with 4 points. So there's some detailed thoughts about it. Let's move along to some of the game thoughts. With the form that you heard about and what the bookies are saying, they're saying it looks like it's an edge, just an edge, that Chile is going to take this one by the goal. And rightfully, you think they probably should. But again, Chile's not the team they were. They're not in a great moment. Alexis Sanchez hasn't got the legs he's had. In fact, for a few years, those legs have not been there. Vargas and the crew can do what they will, but this is not the team that it once was. Therefore, that 1-0 is a fragile 1-0. The 3-1 and the 7-1 odds, well, hey, it could go either way. What are you thinking? What's your score on this one, yeah? It could even go 1-0 to Canada. It could even go 1-0 to Canada. But I tell you now, the possibilities of this one is that it does go 1 apiece. But what are you saying? What's your final score on this one? What do you think is going to happen? Let's quickly take a look at the 3 groups other than ours, and then we'll move along. So looking at Group B, there you go. Venezuela on top with 6, Ecuador with 3, and Mexico with 3. So still alive. Lots to play for. Looking at Group C, Uruguay, USA, Bolivia, Panama, 3-3-0-0, one game in. But the game's coming through. Bolivia taking on Panama and USA taking on Uruguay. And in Group D, not the group of death, but hey, that's what she stands like. Colombia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Paraguay, and games coming through Brazil, Colombia. You might well see this one as who is going to be the top dog in this group. Colombia, Brazil. Right now, I think there's a slight edge. Colombia could take this one, and Costa Rica taking on Paraguay. So there you go, guys. There's a little bit more insight on the groups, and I got to say this much as we move through. It's been great watching Canada in the Copa America. It's been great watching Copa America because the football has been better, way better than Euro 2024. No doubt about it. And if you ask me which is the tougher to win, Copa America is tougher to win. You don't have third teams coming through from the groups. Incidentally, if that were the case, Holland would be out the competition, yeah? So, just saying, Copa America, tougher to win, better football, better entertainment. I dare say Euro 2024 is entertaining for a lot of people. But for me, Copa America has it in buckets. And I got to tell you, one thing moving forward with Canada, this game against Chile, we're either going to see Canada move through to the next round and take on either or one of 3 teams. It could be Venezuela. It could be Ecuador. It could even be Mexico. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots to think for. But I tell you what, get ready for an absolute nail-biter, Canada fans. I got to tell you, we made history with Peru, and that was massive. But when you make history, well, then you keep going. Remember teams in competition like Greece when they won in 2004 with the Euros. Well, they started small, and they kept small, and they started making history through that competition. There's been many other minnow teams make big names and big things happen in competition. But to make your big name, you got to keep going. Right now, Canada is on the cusp of going somewhere special. I would want to see it. I'm sure you do too. But so does Chile. And so do the other teams in the competition. But like I say, this is a tough competition right now. And if Canada, if Canada gets a result here against Chile and can get out of the group, that will be monumental, historical, and you've never seen it in your lives. That's why it means so bloody much. And it's so much fun to see it happen. And you definitely have to be watching this game. And I got to tell you, it's history. It's history in the making. And we're making more history with every year that goes by. And that was something that you and I never thought would ever happen. For 20, for 30, for 15, for 10 years. 5 years ago, you and I sat dormant while the rest of the world enjoyed football at the big competitions. Well, now it's our turn. And in less than 2 years, it's going to be a World Cup in our own backyard. And I got to tell you, I wasn't exactly behind Jesse Marsch at the start, but there seems to be something in the making here. And the fun and the love that the guys have for each other was something that Johnny Herdman had and lost, that Biello never got. But Jesse Marsch seems to be making this team better by the game. And if that continues, well, only good things can happen. So listen, we're on a 2-year build. We're in a competition. Big things are happening. There's no pressure on us. We're not in any win-lose situations outside of this. And every game is a prep game for 2026. I tell you now, enjoy every minute of it. Stick with this team. Love what we've got. Enjoy every game and drop a comment down below because I want to hear from you how happy you were with that win against Peru, how you enjoyed it, your experience with it, because I tell you now, it was absolutely something else. So let's get ready for Chile. I'm busting a gut for it. I know you are too. I'm going to be living every second. Oh, I tell you, man. Go Canada, go. Vamos, Chile. Let's have it.